am super excited because this is one of my favorite people on the planet, Troy Chase in the house. So I love Troy. If you don't know Troy, you're going to love meeting Troy today. That's for sure. So I had the pleasure of meeting Troy, I think like 2.5, 3 years ago.
Yeah.
We both were at a Glover U
Yep.
conference, which everybody knows I attend all the time. You're a Glover lover as
Yep.
well, usually
Absolutely.
right in the front row. Count on that.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So what I love so much about you, Troy, is every time I see you, you have a great smile on your face. Your
Well, thank you.
energy is it's infectious. That's what I'll say.
Well, thank you.
So what I want you to do is tell us where you're at and tell me a little bit about what you got going on with your team there.
Sure. We're in the Houston area. Houston, Texas, obviously. We suburbs, so we're like the southeast
Yeah, that's a
quadrant.
big area, right? Like,
Yeah, it's huge. Like that's what I think is kind of funny. Like when like the referrals and stuff go out in those groups, and they're like looking for an agent in Houston, and I'm like, what 2 hour window are you like
we
planning
have
on?
that a little bit too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Narrow it down for me a little bit.
yes. So we're in the Clear Lake side, League City specifically, is where we do most of our business. And it's great. It's in the southeast corner. We're about 35, 40 minutes from Galveston, like the west end where the beach houses are and whatnot.
Oh,
And
nice.
yeah, it's great. We have a little bit of everything, right, where we're at. Um, and we get a little taste of the downtown action, living downtown, the city life, and then suburban life, when people start to raise families and stuff. And we've got a great school district here. NASA is like literally
Right.
right smack dab in the middle of us, and lots and lots of engineers, oil and gas. They kind of joke, they call it the carcinogen coast, which
Yeah.
you know
A little bit true though,
yeah,
maybe.
yeah. So yeah, it's great though. I love it because we've got the water, we've got big city, we've got suburbs and whatnot, and a little bit of fun for everybody. So it's great.
Yeah. It's a great town. I've been there a couple of times in the last year or so, and it's really, really a pretty great town. I love it. But you're not originally from there, right? You're originally from
Oh,
Michigan.
yeah, I'm originally from northern Michigan, about as nowhere as you could possibly get, right? So like those Glover U events that are in Traverse City for the retreat, it's kind of like going home. Because
Yeah.
that's where I grew up, was up in that area. And yeah, it's a quite a contrast to go from God's country in the middle of nowhere, northern Michigan, down to like what the fourth largest city in the United
Yeah.
States.
Yeah.
So
What brought you to the Houston area?
so originally, I graduated from Western Michigan University. Go Broncos! And I was trained as a teacher and a high school football coach. And so one of the ideas was I was either going to be in Florida, Texas, or California when it came to high school football. So Texas, kind of known for their high school football
A little
coaches.
bit. A
Yeah.
little bit.
So
Yeah.
decided that's probably the best place to go. They were paying the best at the time for new teachers, for like out of state job fairs and whatnot. And so I packed up all my stuff and moved down to Houston really without a job. And uh, I mean, it's kind of a funny story. I thought I had a job and, got an apartment and all these things. And I kept checking back to like find out like with the school district that I thought hired me. And come to find out, they didn't do a payroll request for me, and so I showed up and didn't have a job. So I was like begging for jobs.
Yeah, at this
Like
point, you're like, I don't care about this being the best
yeah,
pay ever. I just need pay.
I
Yeah.
just need to yeah. I was actually getting ready to work at a car dealership. Like there was like this car dealership training that I like signed up for, and the day that I was supposed to show up for that is when I got a call from the school that I ended up going to. So, uh, yeah, it's
I
interesting
love this
journey.
so much because it just sounds like you just packed up, went down to Texas, thought you had a job, but actually did not have a job. And somehow now you're an incredibly successful real estate agent, just absolutely crushing it all the time. So, how
Yeah,
do you get from that, right? Like
sure.
showing up and not actually having a job to, and then obviously you did go into teaching and you did go into
Yes.
coaching.
Yeah.
But now, like, what was the transition from that into real estate?
Yeah. Great question. Yeah, we end up doing that for 12 years. So that experiment worked for the most part. Uh what what's crazy is what got me into real estate. It was originally, it was my plan, like, to get to retire. I was going to retire at 54. I was going to have that teacher retirement money as like my monthly that I didn't have to worry about, and then I would just sell real estate. And um, that plan kind of got sped up. So what happened was, I feel like that's how all great stories start, right?
Mhm. What happened was,
What happened was, my firstborn child, Cameron, we found out at 4 months old that she's pretty much deaf in both ears. The one side, I think they told us that a plane could take off, and then on the other side, she could hear a lawnmower going if it was like right next to her. So it was, the problem was is that she could hear a little bit of like loud sounds, but like you can't learn speech and
yeah.
learn to speak and stuff like that. So um, we tested out hearing aids for a while, and um, that was cosmetic, so it wasn't covered by insurance. So that was $7,000, and then um, we found out that the cause was this virus called cytomegalovirus. It's
Mm.
like the perfect storm of how it happened. So it had to be at the beginning of the pregnancy. It had to be the first time she was ever infected by it. All these factors,
Wow.
basically, and it goes from, it could be as mild as just hearing loss or blindness, mental
Wow.
retardation, all the way to death. Like, so,
Wow.
yeah. And they told us that 50% of cases after they're born progressively get worse. So they wanted us to do an antiviral. That antiviral was going to cost $1,800 a month. And,
And I'm just gonna venture to guess that your teacher salary
oh,
did
yeah,
not cover these
no,
unforeseen medical expenses.
no,
Jeez.
no. So yeah, so we started exploring like other ways to make money, and I basically came to the realization that as great as it is, being a part of Friday Night Lights, it's not paying the bills and providing for my family in the way I needed to. And so therefore, I got into real estate. And so it was kind of a burn the boat situation. Um, I People ask me like what my plan B was, and there really wasn't one, I guess. So like,
I think that's how the greats
yeah,
start.
I
Yeah.
think so too.
Yeah.
Because there is no turning back. Like there's no safety net. There's no like this has to work, or I don't know.
Yeah.
Like there is no like, it never really crossed my mind at all, like how, what would happen if this didn't work. You know
Right.
what I'm saying? Like it just,
There's no option.
yeah, you just do it. Right.
Yeah.
Um, so got into it, struggled my first year. Um, I had like 6 deals done before I hired a coach with Maps Coaching. So I was like an idiot. Like it was so funny. Like I remember going to the mega camp masterminds that they had
Yeah.
set up,
Yeah.
and I had started a team, and there's the room was that we got put into were teams of like 100 plus. And
Yes.
so they asked me like what my production was at the time, and I said 6, and they laughed.
So this is because at the Maps Masterminds, they split you up into your different. Are you a team? Are you a solo agent? Are you
Yeah,
operations? Yeah, and then
yeah.
they kind of move you around a little bit from there. Yeah, so they were like, you have a team
Yeah.
with
I was
six
like,
transactions. That's
yes,
mighty
yes,
bold of you.
yes, mighty bold, mighty bold. And it's funny because after I sat through all that, and I was a podcast junkie. I listened to a ton of books. Like it was great because I was getting basically a PhD in real estate without having to pay
Right.
for it, right?
Yeah.
Um, so I love that, and it's just kind of funny how I ended up finishing out that year. We ended up closing 6 deals in the month of December, and then another 12 or something like that in December, and I think I ended up with like 24 for the
Let me
year.
can I put a pause on this real quick?
Sure.
Now, when you say you had a team, you had agents on your
Yeah, I
team.
had one agent that I
Can I just
partnered up
tell
with.
you though, you recruited somebody without experience. So there's a little bit of, I'm gonna bring this up later based on where you're at now and what I
Sure.
see you're doing.
Yeah.
because somebody trusted in you. And obviously, you have this inherent coaching background and things
Mhm.
like that. Somebody entrusted in you and said, Troy, you really haven't done anything, but I believe in you enough to partner with you on this. There's something to be said for that, my friend.
I, I
There
love
is
that.
something there is something to be said for that. So please, yeah, so it ended up being you finished, you said at 24, right?
Yeah, we finished 24. I mean, mostly my production there at the end, right? But it was good that we teamed up and it was a good partnership, right? Like she had 4 years of experience, so she kind of had people that she already kind of knew. She was a pretty solid agent for the most part. She was just struggling.
This was also an experienced agent. Okay.
Yes, yes. So she 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 was pregnant with her third kid and had over $40,000 in credit card debt. I remember sitting down with her in August and I said, "Hey, this is what we're going to do. We're going to sell 102 houses this year." And she just looked at me like I was freaking crazy. And I'd like written out the whole thing. I had the GPS like all done and here's our priority and these are our strategies and this is what we're
One
going
of
to
my
do.
favorite things. But yes.
Yes, yes. So it's so funny because I'm just like up on the board like a coach, right? Just like
Yeah.
putting
That's
the
your
X's and
nature.
O's up there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So she just looked at me like I was crazy. And then within the first, I think 4 months, she like eliminated all of her debt.
Yeah.
Um, did
You
all
changed
kinds
your
of
life.
yeah, yeah. It really and then she had her third kid and she was doing things that she wasn't able to do for a long time. It was great. So she was really excited about that. And everything was good, right? We did 102 deals that next year. We actually made it happen. And then the problem was is that it was two agents and a transaction coordinator. So it was not a let's
Was
just
it
say it wasn't a
pretty?
level 7 team, right? Like
Yeah. Yeah. That's a lot.
yeah, yeah,
That's a lot for two agents and a transaction coordinator. That is a
yeah,
lot. So we
yeah.
skipped right through the MREA and said, forget this.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
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 Oh, I'd read it 3 times by
Yeah.
that point, but didn't
I
want to
mean,
actually
truly, but
follow
what
it.
does Gary Keller know
Yeah,
anyway?
Gary Keller didn't know
Yeah.
nothing, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Exactly. So I decided after we did the 102 deals, we're just going to go to 300, right? And so then I started doing that, and I had my maps coach, and he's telling me, "Oh yeah, you've got to hire people, right?" And so I start hiring more agents. But this time we did finally get an admin. We got an admin. It was the first agent's sister. She was great.
Okay.
Um, she ended up doing really well with us, and the problem was is that as we started adding agents, drama started to
Drama. Yeah.
get in
Mhm.
there, and next thing you know, people were upset about how leads were done and whatnot. And oops, lost you there for a second. Somebody got a phone call coming in. But anyways, um, things just kind of got crazy. There was a little bit of drama, and teams started falling apart. And next thing I know, I'm I'm at that first Glover U session, learning how to actually build a team and do things the right way. And then it's been just kind of a struggle to get to where we are now. Like it's a slower growth the second time around. But yeah, I got kicked in the teeth and struggled a little bit and
But you didn't stop, right? Like that's the thing. You never gave up because like you said in the beginning, like there was no option. There's
no,
no
there was
option. Yeah.
no option. And then I'll be honest, the sad thing is that after you pay taxes or have to make money to pay taxes to when you make that big of a jump,
Yeah.
uh, they're really the expenses get bigger, right?
Yeah.
And so you have to do a
Yeah.
lot more to
Yeah.
maintain. So
Yeah. 100%. I think that's what people don't realize. And I sent an email out about a week or two ago, probably about 2 weeks ago, and I ruffled some feathers a little bit because I mentioned, hey, I don't think you should have a team.
oh
Uh,
yeah,
and I really do believe that, right?
yeah,
So I
yeah,
did ruffle some feathers. I got some responses back. Love you all. I think it's okay that you disagree with me.
yeah,
But I think those are the things that people don't know. In our industry for so long, pump through to everybody. Hey, you're being successful. You got to start a team. You're successful. You got to start a team. You got to start a team. I don't think everybody knows one, the drama. It's herding cats.
yeah,
You got 50 different personalities. You're like all the time. I wake up half the time. I'm like, blow it all up, like I
yeah,
can do it on my own, or what, all those different things. But financially too, it's not always pretty. We've got the messy middle that
yeah,
I think a lot of my friends are in.
Yeah.
right? We were like, this is the stinky part right here. We got to break
Yeah.
through that messy middle. And I think that's the stuff that people don't know about enough, right? We just see the glamour side of, oh, I did, 700 transactions last year. How'd that feel at the end of the day?
Yeah. No
Like,
kidding.
how'd you go through that? And financially, what did it look like at the end of the day, too? Right.
Yeah.
That's a big part. But you said, you're putting your team back together and your team has a focus
Yes.
that is I mean, we're ripping it off, by the way. I'll just tell you, right? Like everybody knows I'm the R&D queen. I'm
Yeah.
not going to go recreate or make my own. I mean, there's a couple things I do that are my own, but I'm going to do what my friends are doing that's working really well that I think is cool. This is one of them.
Yeah.
Especially with, some of the market changes we're seeing, the NAR lawsuit, blah, blah, blah,
Yep.
all that stuff. You guys have a niche, right? And you just told me it was like 31% of your business comes
Yep.
from open houses.
Yes.
Open houses. How
Open
many of
house.
us don't believe in open houses, right? Like if you're listening to this, watching this, raise your hand and be honest with yourself, right? Like
Hey,
I've read the NAR stats when they do their buyer seller,
yeah.
Surveys.
1%.
Yeah. But you're defying that. And I think there's some reasons why, right?
Sure.
And it's because you have built events. These
Yeah.
are not the traditional stick your 5 or 6 open house signs up the day of, don't do anything extra and wait and pray somebody shows up. And because they're not your, playing whatever Angry Birds on your phone or whatever the heck, right? So you guys, I mean, you have Cool Cow Creamery. I even know the name of the ice cream truck that you hire because I see it all the time.
Yes. I
Right?
love it.
Why you don't own that company yet, I don't know, but you might want to but
Yeah.
you have ice cream trucks. I know you've done other food trucks. You guys, I see you guys out there door knocking, all those things. So let's start from the beginning, right? So you decided, hey, why open houses? What was it about open houses?
So it's kind of funny how it all went down. So it was with my original maps coach. I was complaining the market was shifting, right? This was before COVID. So every if you were around during this time, everybody that's watching, you know how this kind of happened, right? Is inventory started to go down slowly and then suddenly crazy, right? Well, as the inventory was starting to go down, houses were selling fast, and I was complaining to my maps coach. I was like, "Hey, um, I'm not getting as many buyers out of these listings as what I used to because I was able to host open houses, and we could do, you know, 3 or 4 of them before the house sold, right? And now they're selling in the first weekend." And he's like, "Well, sounds like a good problem to have." And he said, "Why don't you just start turning your one open house into an event?" And he started talking about you could have a petting zoo and a bounce house and a food truck and all these things, right? And as he's listing all this stuff off, my ADHD kicks in, right?
I'm there. We're the same with that. Yes.
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 And I just latch on to the food truck and I'm like, wow. Um, I have mimosas on Sundays. I have to beg people to take them, right? Either I make them too strong or not well enough, whatever. Um, they just won't take it from me.
Yeah.
I've got the cookies. They won't
Yeah.
take the
They don't want it.
cookies.
Yeah. It's weird. They don't want it. They don't
Yeah,
trust it or something. What's you say? All right. Cool.
yeah,
Yeah.
whatever. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was going home hammered because I'd had 3 bottles of champagne of my own.
You're
While
like
I
calling
was
an Uber to get home from your open house. Got it?
Yep.
Real estate style.
Yeah. And by the way, that sneaks up on you when you're drinking mimosas. So just
I
be
know
careful
it
with
is
that.
this. Why do you think us ladies like a good mimosa brunch, right? Like that's it. You've seen the
Totally get
memes.
it.
You've
I
seen the
totally get
memes
it.
of the gals falling into the bushes after
Yes.
lunch. Yeah, yeah.
Oh
It's
yeah.
fine. Yeah,
I see it. I see it. And so I said, why don't we do food trucks? Because people love food trucks. They'll
yeah.
take anything. It could
Well, this
be,
is like a super height of food trucks too. Like food
yeah,
trucks are huge in this time that you're talking about. Yeah.
yes, absolutely. And so I'm like, let's do that. And so we started experimenting. And I told everybody right off the bat, I said, guys, we're gonna commit to at least 6 months of this. And so because I knew because I'm notorious. I'll chase shiny objects all over the place, right?
Hmm.
And so I'm like, we're committing to 6 months. So we did, and we started experimenting. We joined like food truck Facebook groups. Went and sampled a few of them. We had them at a couple. We had one this open house that was it was a food truck from downtown, which is a little bit of a stretch for us because then we had to pay a mileage and all this other
Oh
stuff.
yeah, yeah.
And they were expensive, and you had to have a head count. And we had no idea like how many people were
Well,
going to
you're
come to
failing your
these.
way through it. Yeah.
Exactly, exactly. And so we just started just playing with it, and we tested out what we did leading up to the open house, like whether we made phone calls, you know, flyering, door knocking, like whatever, right? Like we tried everything. We tried just putting out the open house signs, like if people would show up. We tried whatever
You're
we
like
experimented.
AB beta testing it, all those fancy things. Yeah. So
Yep,
getting it all figured out. That makes sense though. Yeah.
yep. And it started out kind of iffy. We didn't have a ton of people show up, but the feedback was awesome.
Yeah.
Everybody loved it. And so we started doing more and more of them. And then we came up with our goal was to get back to 100 transactions, right? And we knew that there's 52 weeks in a year. Half of our goal, if we just go ahead and just let's just schedule the food trucks
Yeah.
a whole year out. And so what we
Then
did
you
is
have to have open houses.
yes, and it,
Holy cow, that's brilliant.
yeah, forces you to have to come up with new listings, right?
You know,
So
Justin's
that's
listening to this in the other room. And now that's how he's gonna get me motivated.
there you go.
Oh my
See?
gosh.
See? So that's what we did. So we started doing that. And then like I said, we just kept playing with it until the next big discovery that we had was that if we didn't have an open house, we couldn't cancel the food truck because that hurts their business, right?
Right.
So what we started doing is we just started parking the food truck at the neighborhood pool, the community pool,
Nice.
and we just started inviting the entire neighborhood, and
Yeah.
we were getting 300 people to those, right?
Whoa. Yeah, because then they're like, oh, I don't have to go in the open house. I can, yeah, yeah, yeah. But they know Troy Chase.
Yes, yes. So we're getting brand recognition, we're getting a
Right.
name for ourselves, all that. And we're collecting their information as well
Yeah.
because they sign in as they come to the event.
Yeah, because that's the only way they get their ice cream, right?
That's
You
right.
gotta sign in. You don't get ice cream without signing it.
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah. That's
Yeah.
brilliant. So now, how do you prep for an open house? Like the weekend's coming up, you've booked it out, you've already nailed it, you got it secured. So
Yep.
what's your steps through the week coming up for the weekend house?
So it's great because our listings all work this way too. So listings we generally we list them right away. We don't usually have them scheduled out quite, you know, months out or anything.
Hmm.
So usually the week of we'll do pictures either on Monday or Tuesday. Our picture guys get that back to us by the next morning. We then will put like a little social media teaser out there, which I'm sure you've seen a couple of those.
Yeah.
We'll take something like, oh, check out this pool or look at this kitchen or whatever, and I won't say what neighborhood it is. People start liking it, commenting on it. Where is it? What's the price? And I just don't answer any of it
Yeah.
until
Yeah.
Thursday morning is when it goes live, and then I'll post it in there so everybody has questions about it, and then it shows back up on their Facebook feed. So we kind of like
You're
use that.
building that momentum and that excitement.
Yes,
Yeah.
all
Yeah.
the way
I
in,
love
all
that.
the way from the beginning of the week. And
Yeah.
then Wednesdays, typically once we get pictures back, that's when our virtual assistant in the Philippines is also helping us out, making calls. We probably make about 300 calls a week.
And you're calling
Um,
around basically around the neighborhood, around
the
the open
neighborhood.
house. Yeah.
Yep. And
Nice.
here's the thing, because your sellers are going to wonder why are you doing all the marketing in the neighborhood? Because like these people already live here, they're not going to want to buy a house in here. And statistically, it's like 80 to 85% of people who move into a neighborhood either have a friend or family member that already lives there. So, why not market to what's going to
Yeah.
turn out to be an 85% chance that somebody's going to end up living there?
I hope everybody heard that, right? Like you're calling the neighborhood because they know the next buyer, right?
Hmm.
80 to 85% chance they know the person that's going to buy that home. you want to be the one that gets that buyer there.
That's
Brilliant.
right.
Love it. Yeah.
That's right.
Love it.
And the best part about that too is that the neighborhood now sees all the things that you do to get a house sold. So they don't see that usually from a real estate agent.
Yeah.
And so now we're known as the hardest working real estate team in Texas, right?
I've
Because
never gotten a call. I don't know about you. And in agents, think about that. Has a real estate agent ever called you farming around your neighborhood? I've lived in a lot of neighborhoods, Troy,
yeah, yeah,
like in a lot of states all over this country, and I've never gotten that call. I
yeah,
can tell you my husband's never gotten that call. My
yeah,
kids who own houses never gotten that call.
yeah.
It's
I'm telling you,
huge. It's a
yeah,
huge
it is huge.
opportunity.
And it's simple. That script is so simple. It's, hey, this is Troy Chase, local real estate agent. I just wanted to personally invite you to our ice cream social this weekend. That's happened to be at 123 Banana Street, and we're gonna have free ice cream. Bring the kids, bring friends. We the more the merrier. We just want to thank you for dealing with a little bit of extra traffic for this open house. We're also trying to get it sold. So if you know anybody looking to buy or sell this year, that's when you ask for the business, right?
Yeah.
And then you just go from there. And people generally like when you make that first call, they're like, no, I don't know anybody. But then I usually end the call with a, hey, looking forward to seeing you on Saturday. If in the meantime you do find somebody or hear somebody that's thinking about buying or selling this year, bring them to the open house. Let's talk to them and let's get the process started.
And
And
ice cream.
yeah, and get the free ice cream.
Yeah.
And they show up. I mean, we get people that are like, hey, yeah, my cousin said that you are like the king of open houses, and we were curious about what that process looks like, and then you end up setting an appointment right there at the open
Love it.
house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's brilliant, right? Like, think about, would you say that's probably one of your most effective ways to advertise your open house?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And they actually that's number two. Number one is the flyering. So not to jump ahead on
No,
this, but
go for
Friday
it.
mornings, like today, for example, we went out and we flyered for our open house this weekend. And today was a little rainy, so we didn't see very many people like out, but generally we see about 5 to 6 people out, have a good conversation with them. They changed the ordinances around here where like knocking and ringing doorbells like is considered soliciting, and so we just don't do that. I've run into police that patrolling neighborhoods that like gave us some crap about it, and I said, hey, we're just inviting them to a community event. As long as you're doing that coming from contribution,
Yeah.
you're never going to have problems with that.
Right.
uh, and then we just flyer. So we take blue tape. I thought I had an example in here. I don't. We have blue tape, and then we have these flyers. And on the front,
Oh,
it's
yeah. You
it
start with the
just
ice cream as you should.
yes,
Yeah.
yes. So we ice cream social on the front, and then we have obviously when it is, where it's at, and then we mentioned that it's free. We'll put like some little nice
Yeah.
header on this. So like this one's new listing. Come check it out.
Yeah.
We put on here this pool has a chiller, perfect time for summer, right?
Yeah.
It's got our information
Yeah.
on
Because
it.
by the way, guys, in Texas, your pools need a chiller.
Yes.
They're like warm bath water.
Yeah.
Otherwise. Yeah.
94 degrees, guys. Last year, all summer long, it was pretty rough. I only got in the pool 6 times.
Yeah. That's not refreshing.
No, it's not refreshing at all. My hot tub doesn't even, I don't even put the hot tub that warm.
Yeah.
Then on the back, it's got, just pictures, has the
Yeah.
neighborhood on there. And then we put active, pending, and sold in the last 90 days.
Love that. But that's what you're doing. Just
Yep.
one bam, 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 not
Yep.
overkilling it with the info. Yeah.
No, yeah. Too much info. Like this is all people care about. You start getting
Otherwise,
into
you're throwing it away. Yeah.
yeah, it's too much stuff. And then we've got a QR code for a free home value on there, and then just a little bit about us and whatnot.
Love
But
it.
that's what we do. So that's what our flyers look like.
You say you do that on Fridays, right?
We do that on Friday mornings. Yep.
Yeah. The whole team
Earlier.
goes out, or whoever's working with you that weekend on the open house. You guys are out there together. So,
Yep.
I mean, that makes it a little better, right? You're not doing it by yourself.
Yep. So typically we do about 200 flyers. So we switched it up. We're adding because we have more members of the team. We're probably going to do more flyers because we found that there's a direct correlation to the number of flyers to the number of people.
That's good to know.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
honestly, bang for buck, flyers by far the best. So like when we've tested out different things, I thought signs would do it. And what I've learned is that signs are great for the presence in the neighborhood. So people recognize that's brand
Right.
recognition.
So
And
don't pick out the signs. They're good. They have a
yes,
purpose.
yep.
But the
And what
flyering, gotta do it.
have to do fly have to do the flyering. If I'm gonna skimp on anything now, it's signs. So typically we do 20 signs, and then
Okay.
they look just like this.
Yeah, love it.
Um, if you can, I hope you can see that well.
Yeah,
It's just got our logo on there. It's very plain. Today, 1 to 4, so we can do Saturday or Sunday or
yeah,
Friday, even if we need to. Open house. That's
yeah,
it. Keep in mind, I see some really nice signs out there.
yeah,
People like with their little, their headshot, glamour
yeah.
shot.
It's too much. You can't
It
read all
is.
that. When you're
It's
driving
too
down the
much.
road, first of all,
Yep.
it's not safe if they are reading it. Like, take it down
Yep.
a notch. But that I 100% agree with you.
Yep.
We really went to, when I started, I only used the big probably for the first 3 years.
Yeah.
I never had personalized signs. I used the one from Home Depot that I used to buy from, the $5 a piece.
Yeah.
And
The red and
honestly,
blue one.
yeah, I think
Yeah.
my presence, I think the attendance at my open houses was better because I don't think they thought they were going to see anybody professional. I think they thought they were going to see like
Yeah.
a for sale by owner or something like that. So they
Yeah.
felt more comfortable. Now they like uh, they see it's professional. But I like that.
Yeah.
I'm 100% with you. Less is more. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I agree. And honestly, like one of the first our original brand recognition and people thinking that I was a big deal, even though I wasn't, was that I had a house in one neighborhood that I hosted an open house every single week. That thing, the first time around, didn't sell, but I had that listing. I think it was at least 6 months. I had it almost every single week open and in that one neighborhood, and they saw my signs every week. They thought I was like some kind of stud, and I couldn't sell the damn
It
house.
was just the one house, but they
It
think
was
you're
the one
doing like
house.
100 houses in there over 6 months.
Yeah. So I'm
Yeah.
telling you, it works if it's just a presence that
Well,
you.
but when we put all these pieces together, right? So the
Mhm.
calling,
Yep.
right? The Wednesday, Thursday calling, the Friday flyering, the
Mhm.
signs on the open house. What else do we need to do?
The setup for the tent. So I
Yeah,
guess the
because you're not sitting inside, just sitting in
no,
the house, twiddling your thumbs, hoping somebody opens that door, right? Where
mm-mm.
are you during the
We
open?
are outside. We've got a huge branded tent. Okay. Super simple to put up. It's just one of those pop-up tents that you take to the beach,
Yep.
or like flag football or soccer, whatever. It's one of those
Couple hundred
simple.
bucks, couple $100 to get it branded.
Yep.
Get another person on the other side, pull it apart, good to go.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. You can do it. It's easy. And it's one of the best things I ever did because we were dying for a while. There was especially those neighborhood events at the pool. We're usually sitting in a parking lot and just having the
Oh, the
sun beat
heat
down on us.
and
Yeah, it's
coming up
just
off the asphalt. Ugh.
radiating.
Yeah.
That's what it was.
Yeah.
And so we have that. We set up a table. We have really cool things like I had a lot of this stuff around me. We have temporary tattoos for the kids that have just the logo on it.
Nice.
We've got stickers that are holographic that are just the logo on it. We've got all kinds of really cool, like think koozies, you name it,
So
we
they're
got.
just snagging some stuff, snagging some ice cream. So you're setting up the tent. You're outside
Yep,
because you're getting them when they walk up because for a couple of different reasons, right?
yep,
You want us to actively engage with them. They
yep,
got to come sign up to get the ice cream,
yep,
right?
yep.
But then you're able to hang out with them. It's that's on a different level right there. When I saw when I heard you say that,
Mhm.
immediately I was like, that if you did nothing else
Yep,
but be out front with your pop-up tent
yep,
and welcoming people in and creating a excitement,
mhm,
that I think is brilliant. Change that one thing. Change that
yeah,
one thing. I mean, do all the other things too. Those are
sure, yeah,
even if you only did that,
yeah,
big increase. I just love that so much because I walk in, I go to open houses now too,
yeah,
to meet agents
yeah,
and walk in and they're always sitting down,
yep,
right? Or they just popped up, and I'm
yeah.
guilty of it. I'm guilty of it, right?
I did it.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Just popped up and like so excited to see you. Just put my Angry Birds down, right?
yeah,
This is different. But not only that, mentally, you're probably more engaged the whole time too. And when you're more engaged, they're more engaged with you. Your
Yep.
conversations aren't the same either. I bet you
No.
$1 million. What are your conversations aren't like, it's a 3 bedroom, 2 bath. Here's the
Yeah.
kitchen, as if they don't know what a kitchen looks like. Now you're
It's
having totally different conversations, right?
yes, yes. And
That's
it's great. It's because we're getting to know the people too, right? It's the whole purpose of this was to build relationships,
yeah,
really.
yeah,
Because this is all part of a farming plan in a larger picture, right?
yeah.
Um, so when I was thinking about these open houses, the open houses is just the event at the end, right? But it's all part of a larger thing with the farming in general, right?
Right.
And that's the cool thing is that we have 3 4 agents at the open house. You have to, because when you've got the last 3 weeks, for example, 82, 96, and 84 were the last 3 attendance.
Attendance.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yep.
you have to.
Yeah.
I will be so excited when we get this, when we do this, because
Yeah.
we're launching this. We're doing
Yeah.
this. I told you.
Good.
I mean, I'm so excited.
Yeah.
Plus, I get to hang out with my people, and I love my team, so
Yeah.
that's awesome too. Like we get to have fun.
And
And
that's the fun of it. It's helping build that camaraderie. Everybody's pitching in, so you get that feeling of you're all working towards something together. People aren't fighting over leads because they're all getting leads.
I love that. Yeah.
It's just really beneficial for everybody. And we actually started doing a point system for it because we actually got to the point now where we have enough people on the team where it's you kind of
Not
have to.
everybody can be at the open house. You're not letting
Yes.
everybody that.
Yeah.
Ooh, so you have to earn into the open house.
Yes. So you do points. So you have to flyer, you make your contacts. Um, just being in the office, like
So
doing
you
like
have
helping create it.
standards.
Yeah.
Go figure. You have standards in order to earn your way into, but the accountability level on that's on another level, right? Again, back to the coach mode, right?
Yeah.
But the accountability level, this is amazing, and I love it so much because I think what most agents crave when they join a good team
Mhm.
is these standards, right?
Right.
And the accountability, and you're giving that to them, but they're also getting the results from it
Yeah.
when they do it. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
And
awesome.
that's exactly it. That's the thing. And don't get me wrong, we've had people rotate right out of the team right away
Sure.
because they find that they don't want to do that every week, and
Well,
that's
some people
fine.
don't want to do work.
Yeah, 100%. I
Yeah,
mean, there's a reason that some agents sell more houses than
yeah,
other agents, right?
yeah, yeah. If we were all the same, we'd do the same business, right? Yeah.
Exactly.
And
Exactly.
unfortunately, selling Sunset's not a real thing for most
No,
people, right? Or
no.
selling Tampa, that's where I'm from, or whatever it's called. Like
Yeah.
that's not real life generally for I would say all of the real estate population except for the 10 people on TV.
Yeah.
Yes.
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
Yes. And that's the beautiful part about it is again, people don't see this type of effort
No.
typically from a real estate team. And
Yeah.
so it's very easy. Your listing appointments become so much easier. Just talking about this
Would
gets
you
people
say your
excited.
conversion rate's really high because of
Oh
this?
yeah. Yeah. I actually it's killing me. Part of it though, I have to blame a little bit on the NAR settlement, but I took my first 5% listing in a long time just this
Yeah.
last week.
Yeah.
And it was mostly because he told me, "Hey, I'm willing to pay you your amount, but I don't want to pay a buyer's agent." And we had to go into that whole conversation. But
Yeah, but I mean, I think that's what we're going to see a little bit. And this is
yep,
why I wanted to bring you on, right? Those
yeah,
conversations. What is your value proposition? I know what yours is, Troy, but I think every other agent out there better understand that it cannot be. I'll put we've said this for years, but it's been super easy. Let's be real. It's been
yep,
very easy to sell real estate until probably about last year,
yep,
really, for the last 4 years.
yep,
And now all of a sudden, well, you better have skills and you better have something that sets you apart from me or every other agent out there. And for you, Troy, you have it in spades, right?
mhm.
Not only, I mean, your personality is phenomenal, but on
Thank
top
you.
of that, now you've built the system,
Yeah,
right? That just trickles not only to your community, to the sellers that you serve, to your team, right? The value that your team gets from this, but your family, like this has really brought it all together for you. And I think it's phenomenal. I love
yeah.
it. Yeah. I
Thank
love
you.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. It makes honestly, when you have this system where this is what you plan to do every week, no one shows up to the office and like, what are we doing?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
We already know, and
Yeah.
we just do it.
Well, and everything's easy from there, and I love that. You know, and one of my favorite things about real estate is there are so many different ways to do real estate, but
Mhm.
you have to have a system, and you do, and
Yep.
you have to have a plan, and you do, and
Yep.
you have to follow it, and
Yep.
you do. I mean,
Yep.
so you've got all the, here you go, sport. It's a hat trick for you, right? Like you're doing it all,
Yep.
and you're crushing it. And it's the proof is that if you just build it and you consistently follow it, it works. It's
Yep.
that easy, but you got to do the work and you got to do the activities. That's it. So,
Yep.
one last question,
Sure.
or maybe two last questions, real quick. What do you guys do for follow up after the open house? Anything special for that?
Great question. Typically we follow the Jeff's, 3 by 3 by 3.
Hmm.
Um, but the first touch in it is we do a video text,
Yeah,
and while we're there at the house, we usually do it right with the food truck
I
behind
learned.
us.
I learned I have to hold my phone like this. I
Yeah,
can't.
yeah, the taco.
Yeah, that's what it
Yeah,
was. That's
yeah,
what we
yeah,
were talking about. I didn't know
yeah,
that thing
yeah,
until we
yeah,
were all in Florida recently. But yeah,
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 yeah. So we do that. We do our little taco, right? And we do the food truck in the background because think about it. They've probably gone to 3 open houses
oh
over the
yeah,
course of the weekend. So if you're texting and calling and you say, "Hey, this is Troy, you know, thanks for coming to the open house," and they're thinking like, "Wow, what open house was Troy at?
yeah, yeah.
Who's Troy?"
Remind
Right?
them, do the work for them.
Yes, yes. So if you got a picture video with the truck behind, you're connecting the dots,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And so I guess we're activating the
The RAS.
reticulum.
Yes. Reticulating activation system. Yeah, the
Yeah,
RAS. If you've ever
yeah,
taken Bold or Neuro NLP or any of those
yeah,
other
yeah, yeah.
RAS.
We're,
Yeah.
we're tying it together, right? So we do that and we just say, hey, thanks for supporting us. Thanks for coming to the open house. Really enjoyed our conversation. If this house doesn't work for you, obviously we can get you on a search for something else, blah, blah, blah. I'm happy to go ahead and do that for you right now. So expect that in your email. If you have any questions, just let us know. And quick, boom,
Yeah.
15 seconds, done. Because they're not
I
going to watch
love
it
the
on that.
video text too.
Yeah.
Right. And then, but now you've just done it and you just send it out to everybody. Yeah.
Yep. Yep. Yeah, I'm done. I did it one time. It was very generic, whatever. Great. We also started speaking of this because we had to change this up a little bit because of the automatic follow-up. We are now signing in neighbors separately on a sheet of paper. Because most of the time, number one, they've probably already been to one of our open houses because we had
Yeah.
to put that as a little checkbox that have you
Have
signed
you
in for one of
attended?
ours before?
Yeah.
And then number two, because they're a neighbor, we want to develop a relationship with them. They're not necessarily in the market now. So all that crap about, hey, I'm going to find you a house or this, that,
Yeah.
it doesn't
So
apply
you're
to them.
changing the video.
Yep. Yep. So
Nice.
those people will get a different video. Hey, thanks for supporting us. And then what we're trying to do is we're trying to push them to our website, which has where the open house will be next, which we then again we're continuing to try and work on this. The goal is now we're going to get an email out to everyone that's ever attended an open house for us, like in the tagged in Brivity. We're
Right.
going to push that each week. And they're going to get an email with an invite. Doesn't matter where they're at. And then we
Yeah.
have them tagged by neighborhood. We're going to call them
Okay.
specifically.
Yep.
And then all of us are going to have to call 50 of our own people to invite to the open house that week.
You're
So,
doing my favorite thing because you're taking the data and you're making it work for you.
yes,
And
we
you're labeling it so you can do so. You're protecting your database so you're able to do all that. It's my favorite thing to do to be able to filter down into data. In fact, I also use Brevity, but any CRM you're using
yep,
should have that capability. So it doesn't matter what you're using, guys. This is what you should be doing 100,000%. This is, yeah, it's
yeah.
perfect. I love it.
We even
And
have the two databases. We use both Command and Brivity
mhm,
because Brivity is my dirty database, right? That's where I have like a bunch of like crap because
mhm,
people put their trash information and stuff
yeah,
in.
yeah,
Um, One of the things that keep this in mind too. One of the things that we changed up for this is we had them come up with a keyword that the auto text goes to the phone so that we don't get trash information. So when they
Oh,
sign in, we tell them, hey, there's a keyword that's going to get texted to you. That's what you tell the food truck, and then they'll get you the ice cream. And the
sorry, I
keyword
just put
comes in.
together what you were saying. So when they sign in for the ice cream, the
Yes.
only way they get the ice cream is because you text them a keyword that they
Yep.
have to give to the ice cream truck in order to get their
Yes.
ice cream, but that ensures you get their actual phone number.
Aaron, I can't tell you how much trash. First of all, like just signing in. That's why we switched to iPads.
Well,
You
can
can't
I
read
just
their
thank
stuff.
you for doing all the dirty work for me?
It's constantly evolving. So we come back and do this again in a year, and there's gonna be a bunch of other changes that will have happened. So
Oh my God. Well, I love that. And then we'll
yeah,
talk. Yeah, we'll be talking in a year from now. I love that because
sure.
I'll be doing it
Yeah,
at this point, and then I'll need your new tips,
yeah,
right? Like so
yeah.
every time you change some things, right? You just have to text me
I
and be
will.
like,
I'll
hey,
just
I
be like,
did
hey,
this.
we're doing this now.
I love that. I love that. Okay, Troy, we're gonna wrap it up really quick.
Sure.
I have no doubt that people are going to want to talk to you. And this is what usually happens when we wrap this up and the newsletter goes out. They usually reach out to the people that we talk to. So, how do they reach you? We'll obviously put your regular contact info, but how do they find you online?
Find me online. TroyChase.com is our website. You know, it's tied to Brivity, so there's going to be some stuff. I would just look at that.
Yeah,
Check it
don't
out.
use
See
it.
what
Don't
we're
enter
doing.
your info in there, guys. Yeah,
Yeah,
check it out though. Yeah.
check it out. TC Sells LC is my Instagram handle, and then just find me Troy Chase on Facebook. I'm out
Yeah.
there.
It's
So
good. I mean, definitely please be sure you're following Troy on Facebook and Instagram. Like I said, I follow Troy. I see all of Troy's stuff primarily because I want to rip him off. And I'm giving you credit now, though.
yeah,
I'm telling
but no,
everybody
I love it.
6,000 agents that were doing it.
Yeah,
But I love it so much that I really truly hope everybody connects with you. Not only that, you're an absolute delight, and I'm so lucky to have you in my world. So I'm
hey,
excited to
same.
yeah, I mean, I'm so
Feelings
excited
mutual.
for other people who don't know you. A lot of people know you, but I'm
Yeah,
excited that other people get to hear from you too. So thank you, Troy, so much. We're gonna write up a lot of these tips that you
sure.
gave. We'll have it as a PDF with all your info on there so everybody can download it too. And I just really appreciate you so much. Thank you. And I can't
Absolutely.
wait to see you in a couple months.
I
So,
know.
yeah,
It's
Traverse
almost
City.
July already.
Let's go ahead and plug it, guys. If you want to see Troy and I in person,
Yep.
you have to. I just can't go without plugging a Glover thing, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So you have to come to Retreat,
Yep.
Glover U's Retreat in Traverse City this July. Go to gloveru.com and register, right?
Yeah.
It's gonna
Yep.
be a fun time. We have something fun planned too for those friends. So for our friends that are
Really
gonna be there. So it'll be
nice.
awesome. Well, thanks again, Troy. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thanks for having me.